Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Beef Up Front podcast here on Pick Swap Media, the weekly college football preview show. Ryan Coyle joined by Joe Kmetz. And Joe, I think this offseason, this is probably the game that was discussed the most and maybe the most anticipated regular season game in quite some time in college football. It's a little early in the season to have the biggest stakes, but these two squads are, when we ever see them, they're usually meeting up in the SEC championship game. But we got Alabama and Georgia this week. All eyes on it. College game day, primetime, 7:30 kick. It's going to be an exciting game. We'll get into all that and more. But as always, Joe, welcome back, and how are we?
Beef, I'm fantastic. Like you've been saying, this is one of the, this week and the 12th. So 2 out of the next 3 weeks are some, you have this game, Alabama, Georgia, then the 12th is all the other massive games. But these have been the 2 weeks, we've kind of had circled on our calendars for quite some time now. Really looking forward to this game. We have a couple other massive games. We're going to get into it in a second. But Oklahoma State, Kansas State, we thought was going to be a big game in the preseason. I don't think either you or I had this game pegged as an eliminator game in the Big 12. You have Notre Dame, Louisville, great top 25 game. You have Illinois, upstart Illinois going to Penn State. You have a lot of great college football games this week. You have one of the biggest stories the sport has seen in a while with the UNLV scandal. Calling it a scandal might be a bad word, but you know what I mean. It's in the NIL story, whether Saluka was getting paid or not. You have this big week for college football, a lot of eyes on the sport. I'm really looking forward to this weekend, and let's dive right into it.
All right, to put a bow on last week, not the best week from the boys, 7-13 I went. 2-4 straight up, 2-4 against the spread, 2-4 over under, 1-0 on my dog, outright winner there with Arkansas over Auburn, 0-1 on my lock of Penn State minus 30.5 in the first half, win by 28 points. I'm going to win by 56 in the game. So if you would have took the full game spread, it would have hit. But we digress. We move on to next week. Joe, 9-11 for you, 4-2 straight up, 3-3 against the spread, 1-5 on the over under. 1-0 on your dog, an outright winner as well with BYU over Kansas State, and 0-1 on your lock. Who was your lock last week?
Syracuse minus 9.5, lost outright. My locks have been a nightmare this year.
All right, we move on. As we said, we have a big slate this weekend to cover. Our 5 top games as always, and then one of the group of 5 games of the week featuring that UNLV team that we discussed, and that has probably been discussed more this week than they have in their football program's history. So a lot to get into. We started off with that de facto Big 12 kind of elimination game. And I won't say it's a Big 12 title elimination game, but definitely if either of these teams want to have any chance of potentially getting an at-large playoff spot. The loser in this one, they're going to have an uphill climb just to make the Big 12 title game. I think the winner of this one, we'll see what happens in the SEC and the Big 10 and the ACC and so on. Maybe one of these teams keeps alive and goes on a run, goes 11-1 and wins out from here, finds them in that 11 spot maybe if they don't win the Big 12 title. But it's number 20 Oklahoma State coming off the loss to Utah, at number 23 Kansas State, who's coming off a loss to BYU. A noon kick on ESPN. K-State 6-point favorite. Over under is 55.5 here, Joe. And like we said, both teams kind of fell flat last week. It's going to be who bounces back this week. And who do you think that team's going to be?
I think it's going to be Kansas State. Them getting this game at home is definitely a benefit. I'm going with Kansas State 27-14, so I'll take them minus the 6. Love the under in this game. I know, my 1-5 record against the over-under last week. Don't listen to me, but really like the under here. Just think Kansas State's the better football team. Oklahoma State, if it wasn't for Florida State, could make the argument that they've been one of the more disappointing teams this year. Lucky to get a win against Arkansas. They have not been able to run the ball whatsoever, which is insane, considering the fact that they have the returning running back of the year and Ollie Gordon, and their offensive line is just fifth-year freaks. I expected a lot more out of them. I think they're going to lose this game. Gundy won't let this team fall in the tank, but if it was any other coach, I would say you were in danger of you wake up one day, Oklahoma State's 6-6. But give me Kansas State here in this game.
Yeah, Oklahoma State has been a major disappointment. I heard something today. Outside of that South Dakota State game, Ollie Gordon hasn't ran for more than 50 yards in any of their other 3 games this year. He's averaging below 4 yards per carry. I think you could put him up there with the most disappointing player, arguably, in college football so far this season. But as we touched on in kind of the prelude, both of these teams have an uphill climb, and that might even be generous for an at-large spot. But this is an elimination game for having any chance at one, and potentially even having an elimination entirety dropping to 0-2 in the Big 12. So it's a huge game this early in the season. Uphill climb for sure for the loser to make the Big 12 title game. The winner, I think, will be kind of the favorite to go to the Big 12 title game next to Utah. But I do think the Big 12 is going to be one of the more chaotic conferences and see a lot of up and down play. So it'll be interesting to follow these squads the rest of the way. I was very disappointed in K-State, falling flat on their face at BYU after that big win over Arizona. And also disappointed in OK State, losing at home to Utah without rising. Real gut punch for both teams. I think the morale on both sides most likely low. I think we see an ugly football game in this one. I really like the under. I think we get a slugfest. I'm going to back Kleiman at home, though. He's 14-6 against the spread after a loss. That's the third best mark in the country. And he's 18-8 against the spread as a home favorite. So good kind of spot here with the trends for Kansas State. So I'm going to go K-State 24, Oklahoma State 17, K-State -6, and the under of 55.5. Second game, we go to South Bend, number 15, Louisville at number 16, Notre Dame. 3:30 kick on Peacock. Notre Dame a 6.5-point favorite here at home. Over under is 48.5. Joe, think your Irish can win and cover here?
I don't know about cover, but I'm taking them to win a really tight game, 21-20. 6.5 seems like a lot, considering this, Notre Dame offense, how bad it's been. But Notre Dame is so good defensively; they could, get their offense in a lot of short field opportunities. I'm going to take Louisville to cover here. I don't know I think I'm going to stay away from the spread once this game happens, but I'm going to go with Louisville to cover, Notre Dame to win. Louisville absolutely wins the quarterback battle, which is massive here. That's why I think they stay close in this game. If Tyler Shuck stays healthy, Shuck, however you say his name, stays healthy, I mean, he's very good. He's been good at Texas Tech. He was at Oregon for a while. I think he went did he go somewhere else after Texas Tech? No, Texas Tech right to Louisville. Okay, still, he's been really good. Riley Leonard stinks. I think Notre Dame defensively, though, will hang on, win this game. Low scoring, love the under again.
Yeah, I still don't know what to fully make of these two teams, but I do think 6.5 is too big of a number. I think this line, it's kind of screaming Notre Dame because I could fall into the trap of taking Louisville plus the points, but that's like kind of what the line says to me. And then, usually Vegas goes the opposite way and it's a Notre Dame blowout. But I'm going to fall for the trap and take Louisville here plus 6.5. I would take this all the way down to Louisville plus 3.5. I think really this is a game that's decided by a field goal or less. Since taking over in 2022, Marcus Freeman is only 5-7 against the spread as a home favorite. And as we know, he's got 3 major losses as well, outright losses. So he hasn't been very good in this spot. It really comes down to what Notre Dame shows up. But I do think Louisville is good enough to make this a game and even win it outright. I'm going to go with the upset here and say Louisville goes to South Bend, wins on a walk-off field goal. I'm going to go Louisville 24, Notre Dame 23. So Louisville plus 6.5 and under 48.5 there. All right, we go to our G5 game of the week. Fresno State traveling to UNLV. 3:30 kick on FS1. UNLV -1.5. Over under 45.5. We won't really dive too much into what's going on at the quarterback spot, but basically quarterback was apparently promised some NIL money, wasn't fulfilled his promises. He's now opted out the rest of the season, Matthew Sluka. So UNLV is going to have to go in another direction at the quarterback spot. I don't really think it's necessary to talk much more about that because we actually have actual football to play. That's what matters. And UNLV is a team that could be still competing for that G5 playoff spot, but huge game here in the Mountain West, Joe. Do you think UNLV, amid all the drama, can come out and win this week?
I do. I think this is a classic spot where, everyone saw that opt-out and people probably scrambled to take Fresno State, whatever that line was. Now it's down to 1.5. It shows that even without their starting quarterback, UNLV being favored, they're a pretty good football team. I'm going to take them to win 38-35 in overtime. This is a game, if you want to sprinkle maybe a little prop on this game to go to overtime, I can see this game being really close, and they walk it off in overtime, and they're carrying off. It's Haj Malik Williams, right, Coyle?
Mm-hmm.
See him carrying them off, and UNLV is going crazy, and their season's still alive. They have a lot of big games left too. I won't build the playoff for you like I normally do, but I like the over in this game as well. Give me UNLV.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about Haj Malik Williams, he has a chance to lead a team to the playoff now. Already have 2 wins over Big 12 schools. Going to have a few tough tests coming up here in the Big 12, or excuse me, the Mountain West. Still got Syracuse, who even after last week, I think is still going to have a respectable record, another power conference win there potentially. You can't let all that drama from this week kind of get in the way. You have a golden opportunity ahead of you. UNLV 13-4 against the spread over the last 2 seasons. That's the best team in the country. Sluka wasn't the quarterback for them last year. They've just been a covering machine. They've covered by 8.4 points per game in those 17 games over these past 2 years. So I'm going to back the Rebs still. I think they're a team where Dan Campbell and Jared Goff in the NFL with the Lions are so good against the spread. I just blind bet them against the spread every week. You're going to wind up making money. UNLV is the same thing for me. So I'm going to take UNLV each and every week against the spread. Very interested to see how a group of college kids bounces back after basically their quarterback kind of quitting on them. See what they come out with. But I'm going to go UNLV 30, Fresno State 27. So UNLV -1.5 and over 45.5. All right, outside of the Alabama-Georgia game, this is the game I'm most excited for on Saturday. I think it's going to be weirdly entertaining for some reason. And I think we see some chaos. I think this could be the overtime game that you're kind of talking about with the last one. But you got Arkansas versus number 24 Texas A&M, 3:30 on ESPN. Down at Jerry's World, AT&T Stadium. A&M's a 3.5-point favorite here at the neutral site, over under 52.5. Arkansas, I think, one of the surprise teams of the year so far, Joe. Do you think that they continue to surprise some people and raise some eyebrows?
I think they're going to continue to surprise some people. I have A&M winning by 3, but I'll take Arkansas to cover. Over 52.5. I love here. This is the game, Coyle. I feel like, if not every year, close to it. This game always has chaos, always makes no sense. There have been years where A&M has been ranked way higher, and Arkansas has stunk, but this game all of a sudden is really close, and vice versa. That's why I'm keeping this game close. Not really a whole lot of analysis for this game. I am going to take A&M to win, Arkansas to cover, and that's really all I got. This game always kind of brings lives up to the billing of a good rivalry game that always is kind of unpredictable.
Yeah, I think this is our chaos game of the week. All eyes are going to be on Alabama and Georgia, obviously, but I do think this is a great kind of appetizer and lead up to it. Right as this one's ending, you'll probably go right into the pregame coverage of that Bama-Georgia game. But shouts to Arkansas, winning last week outright as the dog of the day last week and going to Auburn. They've impressed me, and Taylor Green is a really fun quarterback. I like Marcel Reed at quarterback, 2 for A&M. I think this is a fun battle of two dual-threat guys. They might be a little bit better runners than passers, but they're a fun, entertaining product out on the football field. It has the feelings of an overtime shootout to me. As you were saying, a lot of chaos. I'm going to back the Hogs again. Neutral site game, a major difference maker. If this is at Texas A&M, probably lean towards them in this spot, but neutral site, no true home field advantage in this one. I think the Arkansas offense that Petrino runs is a tough cover, and this is the best offense that A&M's played thus far this season. So give me the Razorbacks here with the upset win. It's going to push them into the top 25 next week, and Arkansas continue to raise some eyebrows around the country. I'll go Arkansas 41, A&M 34. So Arkansas plus 3.5 and over 52.5 hitting there. And now we get into the big one, the one that we've been waiting for all off season. Finally gets here. Number 2 Georgia at number 4 Alabama. 7:30 on ABC. Georgia a 2-point favorite. Over under is 48.5. The first matchup of these teams, we could see them meet up 2 more times this year, another time this year. But I'm very excited for this one, Joe, and interested to see, do you think the Dogs are able to go on the road to Tuscaloosa and win this game?
I do not. I'm going to take Alabama here, 27-24. First time they've been a home dog since 2007, I believe.
Yep.
That's just insane that it's been that long, even if, they don't play that many great, non-conference opponents at home. But I really love Bama in this spot. Everyone is kind of down Bama, saying, Georgia's the new Alabama. Kirby Smart has struggled against Bama. Obviously, Nick Saban was the coach there. But Kalen DeBoer is no scrub. He was Obviously led Washington to the national title game. He's been great everywhere he's gone. He wins against ranked teams. Last year, and I listening to a podcast, Coyle, and he brought up a good point. Last year, when he was at Washington, he went up against Oregon twice, coached by Dan Lanning, coming from the Oregon system, beat him both times. Not saying that they're an identical clone of Georgia, but a lot of similarities. And now you're going over to the SEC, it's kind of the same thing again. People are, I never thought I'd be using the phrase doubting Alabama, but people are doubting Alabama. They have Bama as a home dog. I think Bama wins this game really close. Biggest home game for Bama. I know they hosted Texas last year, but this seems like it absolutely surpasses that. Maybe the biggest home game for Bama since you and I have been alive, at least since you and I have been paying attention to football, maybe outside of the Iron Bowl. But this is still a massive game. Give me Bama close. I feel like this is going to be an instant classic. And I'm really knocking on wood. I really hope this is an awesome game.
Yeah, really gotta hope this one delivers. I think, from my perspective, the major difference in this game is at quarterback and the home field advantage. I feel like in college sports, I value home field advantage or on football and home court advantage in basketball more than really any other sport, whether you look at the NBA, the NFL, MLB. I value the collegiate home field, home court advantage more than any. And I think on Saturday night, this place is going to be jumping. Most kids are probably starting drinking tonight, I would assume, and most likely won't stop with the help of, some other substances mixed in along the way. Um, it's going to be an awesome atmosphere, a really cool place to see, even from the TV. But I'm taking Jalen Milroe over Carson Beck, and I'm not sorry about it. Beck might be the better pure passer, pure player from the pocket. But in these big games on those crucial third downs, fourth downs, I love having the option of having the mobile quarterback that's able to scramble, extend a play, and get you a first down or get you to within, a third and manageable, fourth and manageable when needed. And also Jalen Milroe has the ability to rip off a 70-yard touchdown pass through the air or a 70-yard rush on the ground at any point. I think he's the best overall weapon on the field in this game, and I think that gives Alabama a massive edge. Carson Beck might be a 3-down player. Jalen Milroe, in my opinion, is a 4-down player with his ability to run the football. So I think the explosive nature of Alabama's offense is a major game changer in this one as well. They have 5 TDs this year of over 40-plus yards, and they have 1 of 39 yards. So it's a team that can strike in an instant. DeBoer's first big opportunity to win over the fan base, I think he gets it done and makes a major statement here that even though Saban's gone, the Alabama A stays the same. And it's going to be meaning ass kickings for years to come. So give me Kalen DeBoer, Alabama winning this game at home. He's 12-2 against ranked opponents straight up as well. Statement Saturday for me, Alabama 31, Georgia 24. So Bama plus the 2 in the over of 48.5 hitting there. All right, our final game of the week before we get into the dog of the day and the lock of the week. We go up to State College, where number 19 Illinois, coming off a huge Friday night standalone win over Nebraska, travels to Penn State to play the number 9 ranked Nittany Lions, a 7:30 kick on NBC. Penn State minus 18, over under 47.5. They're doing a whiteout, but apparently it's not the official whiteout, so I'm not really sure what it means, the whole luster. I saw something too. The whiteout might be versus Washington at like 3:30. I don't know why they're not just doing the full real whiteout in this game, but still a whiteout, quote unquote, I guess. It doesn't make much sense anymore. But Penn State 18-point favorite here, over under 47.5. Do you like the Nittany Lions in this one, Joe?
I don't just like the Nittany Lions, Coyle. I love the Nittany Lions this week. I am going with Penn State 42, Illinois 21. I think they are going to smash Illinois, Coyle. You said statement Saturday. I think Penn State's going to make a big statement here in this game. I think Illinois is a good football team. I just think they haven't played anyone the likes of Penn State yet. I think it's going to kind of, show that, as Nebraska continues on with their season, it's like, well, how good was Nebraska really? That was an awesome standalone Friday night win. But I think Illinois is going to kind of realize that this is a different animal with Penn State here. I think Penn State's going to roll in this game. I just think Penn State has the better coaching. They have the better quarterback. And I just think that's going to be the big difference. And being at home in a de facto white, I don't know. It's so stupid. I don't care if the game's at noon. Do it against Ohio State or Michigan every year. I get it. I'm not from Pennsylvania. I didn't go to Penn State. But because the TV networks are ruining it, don't let them ruin it. Make the whiteout still your biggest home game of the year. Don't try to force it against Washington Like that doesn't have any juice. The last time this had juice was when Auburn came to town a couple years ago. But I'm going to go with Penn State big here. I think they roll Illinois and kind of make a statement that they are still very much for real.
Yeah, when I was going through my spreads, when I look to at the matchups and who I'm looking to bet this week, I write them all down on a piece of paper as I go through, just the numbers that catch my eye. And this was by far the number that caught my eye the most. I'm not sure why this number of 18 points is this high. Maybe I'm a sucker. Kind of reminds me of the Notre Dame Louisville game. Like, why is Notre Dame almost a touchdown favorite? But I really do like this Illinois team. They really impressed me at Nebraska on Friday night. I think Luke Altmaier has looked really good at quarterback. He's thrown for 862 yards and 10 touchdowns in his first 4 games. And this Illinois team just went into a really tough atmosphere at Nebraska on Friday night. Their 400 straight sellout. It looked like an awesome crowd there and won too. I don't think they're going to be phased or really intimidated by going to State College now. PSU has looked pretty good to start, but have not been blown away. But they also haven't played the greatest competition, so they might be kind of keeping some stuff in the bag for conference play. I do think the key for Illinois, though, will be to limit the possessions of Penn State, because if there is one major difference from Penn State from last year to this year, it is the ability to create some explosive plays. They've proven that this year, and they have the ability to kind of blow games open like they did in that West Virginia game. Another game where, as I said at the beginning, kind of looks like a trap line, but the Illinois defense really strong, quarterback playing really well, not turning the football over. And I think they're riding high with momentum. I'm going to take Penn State to win at the end of the day, but I think Illinois gives them a real fight. I'll go Penn State 27, Illinois 20. So Illinois plus 18 and under 47.5 hitting there. All right. That's it for our 5 games of the week, as well as our G5 game of the week. We go into our dog of the day and our lock of the week now. Start out with the dog of the day. I'm going to go with Louisville, plus 6.5, doubling down on them. Feel like it's a game that comes down to the wire. If Notre Dame wins at the end of the day, I'm not going to be surprised, but I do think it's a game that's decided by 3 or less. I think that number is way too high. I think Louisville has proven over these past couple of weeks that they can be a legit squad in the ACC. I feel like no one's really talking about them. Miami and Clemson's getting all the love. Louisville went to the ACC title game last year. I think Jeff Brom's a great coach. I think he has a coaching advantage over Marcus Freeman for sure there in that category as well. So give me Louisville, plus 6.5 as my dog. I have them winning outright, but I'm going to take them just with the points here. But I think they put a real scare in Notre Dame's eye and could leave South Bend with a win on Saturday.
Yeah, Coyle, I'm very scared as a Notre Dame fan. But my dog of the day is going to be the New Mexico State Aggies. They are plus 9.5 at home against New Mexico. Rivalry game there. The Rio Grande River rivalry, I believe, or the Rio Grande rivalry. I am going to go with New Mexico State at home, 9.5-point dogs. Don't know a lick about these two teams. I know I watched a little bit of New Mexico when they played Montana State in week 0, but that's kind of all I know. I'm going to take the home dog here in a rivalry game. Hopefully I can keep it rolling with my dog of the day.
All right, final pick of the week, our lock of the week. I'm going to go with Ohio State minus 23.5, traveling to Michigan State for this one. I think this is the first time that we're going to see Ohio State at their full disposal. They've played Marshall, they've played Akron, they've played Western Michigan. Preseason, warm-up, layup line games are done. Conference play is on. No holding back now. Aiden Childs, a young quarterback. He's looked pretty good so far, but he has been up and down. A little turnover prone to start off his career here at Michigan State. Now he's going to face a dominant defense, one of the probably top 5 defenses in all of college football. It's a matchup that could give him fits. I could see him coughing the ball up a few times, and I could see Ohio State now that it's conference play really putting that foot on the gas and dominating. So I think Ohio State wins this game by 30 plus. And really makes a statement here in East Lansing. Not the greatest opponent, but I think that they put their foot on their neck from the beginning and don't let off. So Ohio State minus 23.5 for my lock of the week.
My lock of the week is going to be the Boise State Broncos at home. There we go. At home minus the 7, playing on the blue turf. I am going with Boise State against Washington State in this one, a game that I've also thought could have been in consideration for G5 game of the week. Boise State, number 25 in the country. Washington State, the first team out in the receiving votes, so they're 26th. Very big game. I feel like it's going to be an awesome crowd for Boise State. Really big opportunity. 10 o'clock on FS1. Ashton JT is still a monster. He's averaging over 10 yards a carry, which is just stupid. 586 and 9 TDs through 3 games is unreal. I think he's going to have another big day here. Going to go with Boise State minus the 7, and they are going to. I think they're going to beat up on Washington State for it. Personally, I think this is a really cool story from the Cougars here, but this is a really tough spot to go on the road.
Yeah, I think at my lunch break tomorrow, I actually might drive over the bridge to Jersey and look at some of these player props and see what Gentry's line even is. Maybe if it's out, you can text me what it is before I make the drive. But might be one of those days. Feeling a little dangerous. But that'll do it for week 5 already. Can't believe it. But we got some classics potentially lined up this week. I mean, I don't think the loser of Alabama, Georgia is out of it by any realm. They both have loaded schedules to go, plenty of opportunities. But Notre Dame loses this weekend. Their season's completely done in regards to the playoff. Louisville, they get a win. I think they finally start to get some respect. And as we said, OK State, K-State, loser of that definitely has no chance at an at-large spot. And they're going to have an uphill climb as well to make it to the Big 12 title game. So Penn State, do they protect home field against an upstart-looking Illinois team? And then I think we're both really excited to see what Arkansas, Texas A&M comes up to, because I think Arkansas can make some noise and flirt with 8 to 9 wins if all things shake right. So another big week here in college football, Joe, and a couple weeks until we have the Holy Grail Day. And then the week after that is Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, Texas. So we got a lot of great games coming up. The conference realignment, this is where you really start to reap the benefits of it, I think, and get some awesome matchups. But any last second comments before we head out?
No, everyone enjoy your weekend. Like we always say, enjoy it. It's already week 5. It's insane, but it is already week 5. So make sure you're locked in. Last weekend of September, this is where you're going to really start to, use a very cliche phrase, kind of see the contenders separate from the pretenders. Really looking forward to this weekend.
All right, everyone. As always, thank you for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and we will talk next week. Roll Tide.